All the seeds released, all the brackets have been made public. No surprise to see Gable Steveson, the odds-on favorite at heavyweight, maybe as big a favorite as there has ever been at any weight class. What about guys like Ryan Deakin, number 2 seed at 157, has done a terrific job throughout his career at the Big Tens, still seeking that national title. Same can be said for the Bull Alex Marinelli, the number 3 seed at 165.
The Big Ten, again, the premier conference. It shows in the seeding. The Big Ten, 10 weight classes, 7 number 1 seeds. Nick Suriano of Michigan, a number 1 seed for the Wolverines. The only 3 weight classes the Big Ten did not get the number 1 seeds. Right in the middle, 149, 157, and 165. Can always bank on the Big Ten to show up at the national tournament.
Can always bank on Penn State to be a big part of that number 1 seed line. 4 number 1 seeds at this year's NCAAs at 133. You have Roman Bravo Young. Of course, Nick Lee is there at 141. At 174, it's Carter Starachi. And Max Dean, a big addition to Cael Sanderson's team this year, is the number 1 seed in the NCAAs at 197.
Last week in Lincoln, Michigan captures its first Big Ten team title since 1973. Big reason for it, they're 2 conference champions and the 2 number 1 seeds. As I mentioned, Nick Suriano finds a way to get it done again. He'll wrestle for his 2nd national title. And Mr. Wolverine, Miles Amin, fresh off his 2nd Big Ten championship title, the number 1 seed at 184. Could we see Amin and Brooks again? We'll find out.
I hope so. It was one of the best, if not the best, bouts at the Big Ten championships. So let's get your overall take on the brackets. Not a lot of surprises here, but obviously once again we see the Big Ten's dominance throughout the course of the regular season showing itself in the way that the committee released these seeds.
I've always been a believer, Rick, in that it's how do you feel? Your health, your confidence, far more important than your seed. And as I said before, you got to find a way to get it done. It's not easy. You got to win 5 matches. How do you navigate the physicality and the emotion? You don't have to beat a returning champion. You don't have to beat a returning conference champion. You got to beat the guy in front of you. You got to win 5 matches to stand atop the podium as a national champion.
And as important as the Big Ten is to many of these teams, there's no doubt. You ask them about it, their main focus is the NCAAs. That's why we saw teams like Iowa at the Big Ten with a couple of medical forfeits trying to get guys healthy and ready for the NCAAs. Let's get you ready by going weight class by weight class with some previews. You talked about Nick Suriano at 125. We'll dive into that weight class in a little bit, but we start our previews at 133 where Roman Bravo Young is number 1. But don't forget about Dayton Fix at Oklahoma State, the number 2 seed and another terrific wrestler.
They had that great match in the NCAA Finals last March in St. Louis. Roman Bravo Young, I believe, Rick, it's 31 straight. He hasn't lost since the Big Ten Final in 2020 at Rutgers against Sebastian Rivera. He's had an incredible run. I'm looking forward to another matchup potentially with him and Austin DeSanto. DeSanto, the 5, many thought that was perhaps a little bit of a lower seed. Fact of the matter is, for Roman Bravo Young, most likely will have to go through DeSanto again. He's beat him 5 times. It appears DeSanto's narrowed the gap a little bit, but he just hasn't been able to get that big takedown. And Roman Bravo Young, Rick, just always finds a way to get it done. Really good on his feet, phenomenal scrambler. And the point of emphasis that I've noticed with him the last couple of years is he is so tough in that top position. He showed it in the national final against Fix last March.
Big logjam of Big Ten between 5 and 8. You mentioned DeSanto at 5. You have Dylan Ragusin at 6, Lucas Bird at 7, Rayvon Foley at 8. Those guys can all make some noise at 133. At 141, the top 3 seeds, all from the Big Ten. There's Nick Lee, who has been the big dog there, but he has battled back and forth with Jaden Ironman and, of course, Sebastian Rivera. Now, both Ironman and Rivera were among those who medically forfeited at the Big Tens to get ready to wrestle at 141 and be healthy.
Nick Lee has been so consistent. Finds a way to win, but in the way that he wins, it's very consistent. Chop wood, carry water, that's his philosophy, and it shows on the wrestling mat. So fundamentally sound in his positions, doesn't give matches away. You can trust Nick Lee. But you look at Sebastian Rivera, the number 3 seed, Jaden Ironman, the number 2 seed. Could we finally see that in a possible semifinal? Listen to this, Rick. Sebastian Rivera, a possible 2nd-round match with the number 19 seed, Chad Redd of Nebraska. Chad Redd is a 4-time All-American. That's a 19 seed, also at 141 pounds in this bracket. 24 seed, Stevan Micic of Michigan, a Big Ten champion and an NCAA finalist. I believe that would be a potential quarterfinal with Lee and Micic. That is insane.
And that is why sometimes we discuss why having one of those lower seeds may not be the worst thing ever, because you get matchups that you want leading up to maybe perhaps the quarterfinals and into the semis. Could certainly be the case at 141. At 165, the highest Big Ten seed is Alex Marinelli. Even though he's the Big Ten champ, he's at number 3 because this is a nasty weight class with guys like Evan Wick and Keegan O'Toole, who are 2 undefeateds at 165.
165 is a deep weight class, as you mentioned. What intrigues me about this weight class is the styles. Alex Marinelli has been the number 1 seed at this tournament 3 straight years, albeit did not have a tournament in 2020. Alex Marinelli, the Bull, so adequately nicknamed, that square stance, hard in the hand fight, extremely physical, good in the top position when he has to be. Alex Marinelli, could this be the year, Rick, that he puts it all together? He's been 7th, he's been 6th, he's on that bottom half with Keegan O'Toole, and I'm intrigued about the stylistic matchup between those two. DJ Hamady on that top half of the bracket at 165 with an Evan Wick, former Wisconsin Badger. That intrigues me. That bottom half as well with Marinelli. You have Kamamina, Michigan. That could be a quarterfinal match, a rematch of the Big Ten Finals.
And don't forget about Carson Hartzler, who handed Marinelli the loss earlier this year, but then got beat by Kamamina at the Big Tens. Hartzler is sitting all the way down there as a number 7 seed at 165, but certainly a dangerous wrestler.
Well, Alex Marinelli getting prepared to take the mats. 20-1 this season. He's going to find some offense. There's a shot from the Wolverine. Good defense there from Marinelli. Alex Marinelli of Iowa, a 4-time Big Ten champion, the 8th in Iowa Hawkeye history.
He is 4-time Big Ten champion Alex Marinelli of Iowa, kind enough to join us, better known in wrestling circles as the Bull. And Alex, I want to start there because everybody calls you the Bull, but not a lot of people know how it all started. What was the genesis of the Bull? Where did the nickname come from?
Yeah, I went to my high school coach's camps and club when I was real young, the Jeff Jordan State Champ Camp, and he saw me double leg a guy, and he said, "That's the Raging Bull." I was probably about 6 to 8 years old, real young, but always had that aggressive style. So the Bull kind of just stuck with me. I think I hear it more than my own first name. So
that's a great nickname to have. And we had Michael Kemmerer on at the beginning of the year, and I asked him to rank teammate nicknames, and he chose the Bull over the Riddler. So now it's your turn, but I'm going to throw Kemmerer in there as well. So which is the best Iowa wrestler nickname? Is it the Bull, is it the Riddler, or is it Grandpa Mike?
it might be Grandpa Mike. You know, we had a good joke today by Max Marin. He said, what was it like wrestling with Leslie Beers? And Leslie Beers was the first national champion in I want to say 28 or 26. And it's kind of funny. It's just a little joke. Kemmer's, he's an old one, but he's a good one.
Well, you've been around for a few years yourself, and you're a good one as well. Just picked up your 4th Big Ten title, and you're a guy that just goes about your business. We generally don't see a ton of emotion from you on the mat, but you put those 4 fingers up to signify the 4 Big Ten titles. What did it mean to you to clinch that victory?
It's history. You know, you get your name up on the wall, you get that asterisk on the wall. It's a big deal. You know, that four Big Ten title, and you know, you just gotta keep it going, and it means a lot. But you know, everyone's gunning for that national title, so I gotta keep my head down. I gotta stay focused, and you know, get the job done.
And I know you haven't been happy with those results at the NCAAs as you look for the success this weekend in Detroit. So what did you learn from the last couple of years in the NCAAs and coming up short of where you want it to be that you can try to apply this week in Detroit?
Treat every match like it's the last one. Treat every match like it's the finals, and don't let the clock tick, and get to my scores, get to my attacks early, take risks in the middle of the match so you don't have to do it at the end, right? So, I mean, guys are going to game. They want to beat you by a point. They want to beat you by a takedown, so you can't let them.
Alex, I'm curious as to the conversation amongst the team, because wrestling's such a unique sport in the sense that when you go to either the Big Tens or the NCAAs, everybody has to focus on the job in front of them. But obviously, as a team, you want to live with the NCAA team title as well. So what is that conversation like as you kind of balance your individual responsibility and being part of the team?
Yeah, I think just knowing that the guys, they're going to take care of their jobs. I know we have a veteran team. We have a pretty old team. So they've been to these big matches. So you don't have to worry a whole lot about them getting their job done. Our coaches are always preaching to us, just stay in our own match and control what you can control. And that's our own wrestling, right? And then if we control our own wrestling, then the rest takes care of itself. So we got 9 other guys that are gunning for that national title.
How much of a grind is this, Alex? You mentioned the fact that these guys have been around for a long time, yourself included. That means you've put your body through a lot of wear and tear. We saw Kemmerer and Ironman at the Big Tens deciding to take a medical forfeit or utilizing a medical forfeit and probably getting ready to make sure that they are healthy for the NCAAs. How much of a grind is it on your body to go through these tournaments?
You're always going to be sore. Everyone's sore. If you're not sore, then you probably didn't wrestle. You probably had a bye or something. You're always going to be sore. Wrestling is a unique sport. You're trying to control someone and do something to a person that they don't want to do, and then they're trying to do the same. So you're going to be sore, but taking care of your body, cooling off the right way and getting, massages and icing, and it's all about recovery these days. So I think I think that's the biggest thing I've learned over the years is just take it one match at a time and then get your body feeling good.
All right, Alex, let's close with this. Wrestling's obviously a very tight-knit community. Some would even say it is a family affair because it is in a lot of instances. And for you, your wife is the director of operations for the Iowa wrestling team. And those of us who watch on TV, I'm not sure who is more excited, more excitable during matches, whether it's the fans out there or whether it's Mariah as she's watching every move that you make. How important is she to what you do on the mat, and what sort of conversations do you guys have before and after those matches?
Well, she's a lot prettier than I am, so it's easy to have her on camera. We are a team. Her and I are a team. We visualize everything together, and we meditate together, and we visualize me winning that national title every night, and it's something that we think about and we talk about, and she knows I was born to be a champion. She's my rock. She's my better half, you could say. She's the driving force, and I think I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. So, I'm thankful. I love her, and she knows that. So,
well, we wish a national championship for both you and your wife this weekend in Detroit, Alex. We truly appreciate the time. Been an amazing career to watch. We hope you finish it off with the first place this weekend in Detroit.
Thank you. Got to get the job done, and thanks to the fans. Thanks to everyone. Big Ten. It's been an honor, and it's a blessing, and I'm thankful, and I can't wait to go at it. So.
Alex Marinelli, 4-time Big Ten champ from the University of Iowa, looking to add a national title to that resume this weekend in Detroit. Let's head back to the NCAA Championships and preview 174. This is a loaded bracket, especially when you talk about the Big Ten talent. You got Carter Starachi, the 1 seed. Of course, Logan Mass is in there. Michael Kemmerer. How about Mikey Labriola, a 9 seed? That is a dangerous bracket.
He's a 9 seed, and he was 3rd at the national tournament last year. This weight class is littered with hammers. NCAA champions, NCAA finalists. Look at Logan Massa. He's the number 3 seed. He's on the bottom of the bracket with Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech. He became the Hokies' first ever national champion a couple of years ago down at 165, beat Alex Marinelli in that run of the championship. 174 pounds is so deep, you could argue it is the deepest weight class of the national tournament.
But there is no doubt that Carter Starachi will head in as the favorite. He's been so solid as well. You talked about Nick Lee. This is a Penn State staple. He just doesn't make mistakes. You like to describe him as stingy at 174.
That's exactly what he is. He is so tough. But you mentioned Labriola. They've had some good battles in the past. That's an early round matchup for him. So winning at 174 pounds, you will have to have a memorable few days in Detroit. But Carter Starachi, if anybody is capable, Starachi's the guy.
You could say the same thing about 184. A lot of guys that could win it, but there's one matchup that we all want to see, and that's the rematch of the Big Ten final between the 1 seed in this tournament, Amin, and the 2 seed, Aaron Brooks. But don't forget, you have a guy like Trent Hilde at number 3 from NC State, a really dangerous guy to deal with.
And he had a really good match in the national finals last year to Aaron Brooks. It was a 3-2 match. Heidley's a hammer. His brother Hayden is in that mix at 174 pounds. They've been fantastic for Pat Popolizio in the Wolfpack. Miles Amin, Rick, he's been 4th, he's been 3rd, 3 times, and he wants to find a way to get to the top of the podium. But another loaded weight class as well, John Poznansky, he's a 20 seed. He's dangerous. Taylor Vance is on the bottom half of that bracket with Brooks. He's the only guy that's ever beaten Brooks until Amin did it in the Big Ten Finals. I can't say it enough, Rick. So win one of these things, you could say it's impossible, and you'd be very close to accurate. It's almost impossible to win a Division I national title.
Almost as impossible as it is to figure out 197. We said the same thing when we were getting ready and previewing the Big Tens. Now you look at the NCAAs. You have Max Dean at number 1. You have Eric Schultz at number 3. Patrick Bruckey made a nice run at the Big Tens to get that number 4 seed. And again, there are so many different guys that could win it all in Detroit at 197.
197 in the Big Ten is stacked. Now you add a couple other guys from around the country, and you have yourself, Rick, a good old-fashioned dogfight. 197 is going to be a blast to watch. Dean is the number 1 seed. Eric Schultz, as you said, is the number 3 seed. You could see Dean and Bruckey in a semifinal, but if Dean gets to that point, Cameron Cathey might be in his way. He's the 9 seed. He's the only wrestler to hand Dean a defeat this season. Braxton Amos from Wisconsin, I think he's dangerous. He's been able to figure it out this season. He'll be a tough guy to get out. This weight class of 197 pounds, simply put, Rick, there is no easy way. Grab the lunch bucket, put on a hard hat, put on the big boy pants, and go to work.
We all knew that 125 change was Spencer Lee's season-ending injury. Those outside the Big Ten and those at Oklahoma State certainly know that 197 all changed and opened things up for everybody when A.J. Ferrari got hurt and was ruled out for the rest of this year. Your guess as good as mine at 197. Time for us to finish up with Big Ten or the field. Sometimes Shane gets the entire Big Ten conference. Sometimes he gets only individual wrestlers against the rest of the field. We start at 125, and this is one of those instances you only get one wrestler. It's Michigan's Nick Soriano, the number 1 seed. You got Nick Soriano or the field?
I am taking Nick Soriano at 125 pounds. It will not be easy. The bottom half of the bracket, you have Vito Araujo of Cornell and Patrick Lowry. That's a possible semifinals. Those two guys are fantastic. On the upper half with Nick Soriano, the number 4 seed, Brandon Courtney of Arizona State. He was an NCAA finalist last year, but Nick Soriano, he's done it before. He won a national title a couple of years ago. I think he wins his 2nd title. Give me the Wolverine, Soriano.
Let's go to 149, where the highest seeded Big Ten wrestler is Austin Gomez of Wisconsin, but Sammy Sasso is there. Ridge Lovett is there. Of course, Yanni Diakomahalis is also there as the number 1 seed. So at 149, you get the entire conference. You got the Big Ten, or do you have the field?
And the Big Ten is stacked. Top half of the bracket as well with Yanni Diakomahalis is Max Mirren, and I love me some Max Mirren. But Yanni Diakomahalis, he might be one of the best wrestlers of all time when it's all said and done. I can't go against Yanni D. I got to take the field at 149, as good as the Big Ten is. But if anybody can knock him off, it'd be somebody from the Big Ten.
Let's move to 157, one of your favorites, Ryan Deacon, seeking that national title. He's actually the number 2 seed because David Carr of Iowa State is the number 1 seed. You have the Big Ten at 157, including Deacon, or do you have the field?
At 157, David Carr is the number 1 seed. I don't see anybody stopping Carr to the finals. On the bottom half with Deacon, Jared Franick of North Dakota State, phenomenal. He gave him a really tough match at last year's NCAA Championships in the quarterfinals. Ja'Cory Teemer is undefeated for Arizona State. At 157, you got to take the field.
And I know that was hard for you. And finally, with Gable Steveson, we're not worried about whether he is going to win or not. I want to know if you believe anyone in this field at any point in the NCAA championship is going to have a takedown. So is it a takedown against Gable, or is it Gable running roughshod?
He scored 81 takedowns this year. He has not given up a takedown. The only way he gives up a takedown, Rick, is if he trips on the mat tape. Nobody's taking down Gable Steveson. Nobody.